going to jump right in with that sweater. Can you back up?
Can I back up? Yeah, I've told that a lot. Yeah.
Tire. Yeah, could you just back up? Actually, that would be what a great t-shirt. Could you just back up?
Yeah, I'll get one of those little beepy things that drives you nuts on a Sunday morning.
Actually, that looks kind of cozy because
it's very comfy. I'm really cozy. Cozy's a good word.
Am I zipping here? I'm breaking a cardinal rule of TV.
Oh, you've got a kind of a madman shirt. You should wear a tie with that.
Is it zipping on you?
Yeah, I'm getting nauseated.
Getting nauseous?
Yeah, I need the Gravol.
One of my favorite shirts, and of course, Idiot Boy, who's been doing TV since they were crankable, should have known better than to put on a striped shirt. But nobody cares. Here on
do you iron your own shirts, or do you have them laundered?
I iron my own shirts, and my spouse tells me that I'm not a very good ironer either. That's not very good. That's not a very good ironing job.
Have you two been getting along?
Oh, we're getting along just fine.
Just fine. I iron my own shirts. As my wife says, if you want them ironed, there it is.
That's it. Well,
my chinos, I iron those.
I used to iron in university, and God, the guys used to laugh at me, but they would show up at parties looking like an unmade bed, and I'd be there with my little. Of course, I didn't get it to any of the girls anyway, but I had my button-down shirt. That didn't impress anybody.
Beat the crap out of you.
That's right. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay.
The 10th of April.
Shall I go first while you're sipping your tea?
Off you go then.
What do we got? I've just got a few random bits this morning. I know you're sick of hearing me whine about this, but you know how much of a stickler I am for good communications. 3M gets a thumbs up today because they've stepped up to the plate. 3M Canada has. And
they put up with the President of the United States as well, so we'll give them points for that earlier too.
Yeah. And I was just about to get to that, but Penny Wise is the name of the woman who's president of 3M Canada. They put up a statement on the website. I'm not going to read it to you, but I'm just giving them a thumbs up for stepping up to the plate. And what's his name? Roman, the CEO of the whole multinational, who more or less stood up to Dickwad over here. And let him know that, Mr. President, you don't seem to understand what international distribution chains are like. You have no idea how it works. 3M has 90,000 employees worldwide, some of them in Quebec. They have an office in Saint Laurent here and elsewhere in the country. So kudos to them for stepping up. And they make it very clear here that no shipments have been delayed, that we're receiving, us and other countries are receiving the goods that we paid for. And there's also a counterfeit line that you can call here. If you're in the business or if you're a professional and you're not quite sure of the quality of the goods you're receiving, and I'm not suggesting 3M is shipping out counterfeit stuff, but if you have questions about that, they will be happy to certify and verify this business for you. All right.
Another thing that the big orange cone didn't realize is that much of the stuff, not just in 3M product, much of the stuff that goes into American products, which he doesn't want to give to any other country, the components come from other countries, like Canada. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And apparently there was something that went on at a French airport, TFI, RFR, Radio France Internationale, reported that they were trying to hijack, I believe it was masks meant for French hospitals and whisk them off to the United States.
Yes, we've had stories like that, and of course the Americans are fighting amongst themselves now. The states and the federal government fighting for supplies. I will let you read those headlines at your leisure. I don't want to get into all of that because there's so much crap coming out of this war criminal's mouth that it's unbelievable. The reason I'm putting up this photograph here now is I have been engaged in some rather vociferous discussions with people because I'm among those who is still convinced as of this date that Americans are liable, and this is a rude expression to use, to shit the bed again this November. And
Yeah. I had a discussion with a bunch of my friends about this, and they say, you know what? It's 50-50. He's going to win
yeah,
again. I can't believe it.
yeah. However, and I pore over all kinds of material every single day for clients now. There are signs now that they're getting worried. And they're giving themselves being these dickheads, these Republicans are giving themselves now 4 to 8 weeks to turn things around. And the problem with that is if Mr. Wonderful here goes ahead and tries to reopen things too quickly, more people will die. And that will seal his fate. So I'm not convinced that it's happened yet, but I'm terribly encouraged to hear and to see the underground rumblings indicating that things are heading south. So bye-bye, dickhead. Now,
and we also, both of us agree, because we have many American friends who communicate with us all the time. There are millions upon millions upon millions of Americans who are embarrassed, horrified, and want this man out too.
It's
We talk
appalling
about his base, but there are hundreds of millions of Americans who are every bit as outraged as people in the rest of the world. So hello to my American neighbors. Good luck in November.
Now, Dickhead was suggesting that funding for the World Health Organization be retracted by the U.S. He then retracted his retraction, having retracted the other retraction because somebody whispered in his ear, no, it doesn't work that way, Donnie. But you can make a donation to WHO. They're raising money. Strangely enough, they've collected $141 million so far, but in U.S. funds, mind you. If you can drop a couple of bucks their way, go right ahead. So look for the website that is the COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund. Now, if you want to give money, I'm going to get through this quickly, David. I'm sorry. A bit closer to home.
No reason to be sorry. This is all good stuff.
Welcome Hall Mission is online. I hear Mr. Watts en français just about every day. Reminding people that they need a few bucks. And you and I talked about this yesterday. The number of homeless in Montreal is on the rise. That margin is very, very narrow. So they need assistance. So if you want to give a few bucks closer to home, Welcome Hall Mission will be more than happy to take it. Now, enough of that. I pore over so much material every day that I decided to start bringing you some of the pluses that I see. And if you need to hang your hat on something at night before you close your eyes, you can be assured that there are hundreds of thousands of people on this planet right now who are working tirelessly, doctors, researchers, and others, on coming up with medication, with vaccines. Last count I saw, some 50 vaccine trials were being prepared now. Again, yes, many months off, but people are working on that. And here's an example of what research is going on in Australia. Some researchers at Queensland University have identified 6 drug candidates now. And what's interesting about this virus is that it contains an enzyme which is not present in the human body. So the drugs they would use to eradicate it would not have to be very, very strong, unlike, for example, some cancer drugs that are very, very toxic to the rest of the body when they're administered. In this case, you could target it very, very narrowly and get things done very quickly. So all of this is going on while you wake, while you sleep. So make sure that you keep that in mind.
You mentioned an enzyme that is not present in the human body. Does that
Correct.
mean it is synthetic, or it is in other beings, animals, whatever?
No, it is an enzyme that is in the COVID-19 virus. It is called the I wasn't clear, I'm sorry, the main protease. So the virus itself contains an enzyme that allows it to replicate and to mediate and to go about its work, quote unquote. By killing off that enzyme, you then essentially deactivate the virus. So this is what they're after doing here. I'm just going to finish off on my beards. We talked about this a couple of days ago. Why the PM still has a beard, I'm not sure. They should have told him to shave that thing off. First of all, it's not a very good looking beard. It looks like a beard that I would grow, kind of patchy. And for symbolic reasons alone, that should have been shaved a long time ago there, Mr. PM. I don't want to see this
Well,
anytime
his
soon.
long facial hair is
Yeah,
a
it
transporter,
is a
or especially around
vector,
the mouth.
as
Yeah.
is
Okay.
animal fur and things like that. They're finding
Right.
this out all the time. And I don't want to see a waiter come up to me in about a year and a half wearing one of these, because I'm going to walk out of the restaurant.
What is that?
It just, you can do a search for this kind of thing, and now there are companies and organizations that are coming up with masks for people men who wear beards for religious purposes,
Oh,
religious reasons, of
okay.
course.
I
So
thought it was somebody trying to
no,
create. It's weird. It's very
now
strange. I didn't
if
quite recognize what it was there for a minute.
no, if you're a Hasidic Jew, or if you're a
Yeah.
Sikh, or if you're a Muslim, yes, those beards must remain. Now they'll come up with coverings for those, but I'm with you. The hipsters here with the beards and everything else, that's got to go. That's got to go. Now I'm still waiting for delivery of my head shaver. It's stuck in a post office in Oakville, Ontario somewhere. But once I receive it, I will give you a review. And I was talking to Pierre Damour yesterday, and he wants to know how it works. And I said, well, let me get it and fix it and try it first, and I'll get back to you. There you go.
Keep the picture there for a sec, if you would,
Yep.
because when you first showed that to, I think Pierre was on that broadcast.
Yes.
When you first showed it to the two of us, we thought it was a kind of hipster tricycle electric, but it is a head shaver.
Yes.
It looks large enough to sit in, but you put your you put your finger in there, right?
It's about the size. Yeah, your finger goes into this particular orifice over here. This is the blade on the back, and the wheels simply allow it to glide over your head. So
it looks very high tech. What is this? German, Swiss?
No, this is American. The dealer, the Canadian dealer, is based in Oakville or somewhere near Toronto. So, and it's called the head. What is it? The head blade. Head blade.
Head blade. Okay, but I mean, you seem to be happy with the system you have now. Of course, if you see a gadget, you're going to get.
I'm going to go for it. Yeah, because I'm bored out of my mind most of the time.
Insane.
So. Yeah.
Wow. You really delved into a lot there. Good for you.
I got more for you too. And
you want to go back to share the screen?
No. I just want to let you know that I heard from an old colleague of ours, a sports producer. I don't have his permission to use his name because I'm still waiting to hear from him, who is living in India now, who will be contacting us, I hope. And my sister, Lynn, who teaches in Ontario, has agreed to join us for a chat in the next day or two as well. So I'm hearing from all kinds of folks via Facebook. Good to hear from you. Hang in there. And the turn is yours, sir. And you are sharing, and I see Hillary on the screen there. Yes.
Yeah. Just the producer in India, we both know him from days past.
His first name would be Hans.
Ah, okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, good.
Yep.
Yes, I told you after I had 3 Zooms yesterday, Skype Zooms, whatever. Started with you. After you, we had what we call the old geezers coffee clatch. We had our first virtual one where a lot of guys in my neighborhood are retired. I'm the young man on the totem pole here.
Oh my!
But what we did what we did talk about was stuff that we are streaming, and one of the gents mentioned a series on Netflix called Hillary. Lover, hater, well, that's usually the way it is, isn't it? She's a very controversial character. Through in some, I think many aspects not her own fault. But anyway, he says this 4-part series is excellent, an excellent view of Hillary Clinton. As I say, lover or hater, she can be a polarizing individual. I still think she's a fascinating American politician, although a rotten campaigner. But the person who watched this said he was not really necessarily a fan of Hillary Clinton, but found the quality of this documentary very, very good.
Noted.
So I would recommend this. This is on Prime. I guess I didn't get the original one, or did I? Sorry, I'm blowing my own line here, but this is the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Oh, yes.
which
I have
is
not seen it
on
yet.
Amazon. You haven't seen it yet?
I have not.
It,
No.
it's on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
It is about a young woman in New York in the 50s and 60s, and the photography of New York City in the late 50s and early 60s is absolutely spectacular.
You've been
Even
watching
if
it?
you've not been to New York, your nostalgia for New York will just go right off the meter. It is about a woman whose husband is a vice president of a company in New York, very successful, but what he really wants to be is a stand-up comedian. And I know you and I and many others will recognize that when this young guy goes and does his stand-up at a New York in a Greenwich Village club, he basically steals an entire Bob Newhart sketch, the one about Lincoln,
Mm-hmm.
and he steals the whole sketch. Anyway, it turns out his wife is the more talented of the two. The husband leaves her. She gets into the stand-up game and is tremendous. Two of the supporting cast are the incredible Tony Shalhoub and Kevin Pollak.
Kevin
As
Pollak,
the
who does
Kevin,
Christopher Walken better than Christopher Walken does, by the
yeah,
way. If you want to see an impression, Pollak is very funny.
and anytime you want to laugh, I watch it once in a while just when I need to smile. Watch Kevin Pollak, of course, do William Shatner.
Shatner as well. Yeah. And
Yeah.
he does a bit, if you can track it down on YouTube. I think he's reading A Christmas Carol as Christopher Walken, and you will be on the floor.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
well, they play. Tony Shalhoub is hysterical. They are well off New Yorkers, and there are scenes where the cleaning lady is going through the apartment of Tony Shalhoub, but she makes a mistake of going into his den. He said, "There's no dust here. Don't touch this room. There's no." And you see this poor woman. He is Tony Shalhoub is up there with Hank Azaria. He just can't do anything wrong.
Yeah, he's quite good.
And Kevin Pollak is, well, I was a little surprised, but very good and a complete and utter schmuck. Just a wonderful little series. I know I'm late to this. I've only watched the first 3 episodes. It's now into its 4th season. It's called The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. And if you do have Amazon Prime, and you think you have to pay extra for it, you don't. Once you have Amazon Prime, which gets you points and things, you can get anything on their streaming service.
Correct.
So I would highly, highly recommend that. A generation has lost a great.
Why do we keep seeing Alfred E. Newman and Passover all over again?
Because
you're lost. You have no idea where you're going.
Yeah. Well, what's his name died, and now I can't think of his name. Isn't that amazing? I can't think of his name. He did about half. He was 94. He did about half of which were the most popular part of the magazine, half of the television and movie spoofs.
Oh, yes.
And look at oh, God, isn't that terrible? I should have written his name down. I thought I had. Anyway, he died at 94. A whole generation of kids were brought up on Mad Magazine.
Yeah.
They didn't read the New Yorker. They didn't read the New York Times. They didn't read the Montreal Gazette. They read Mad Magazine. And this guy was just a centerpiece of it. And damn it, I thought I'd remember his name because I'd known it for years and I didn't write it down.
We can look it up. We can look it up.
68 years of age. Yeah, I became 68. So tonight at sunset starts the 3rd night of Passover, and a happy Easter to all.
That is just wonderful. And with that sweater, it means so much more coming from you. With that, you're sharing again.
Yeah.
Just there you go.
God damn it. What the hell? How could I forget his name? Oh, well.
Okay. We'll find.
Yeah. That's going to be
about it. So you're hunkering down for the Easter weekend, are you? Or the Passover weekend?
Yes, we are going to have a Zoom Easter.
Yes.
With various members of the family. We have friends, very close friends who are alone. So flowers have been sent. We figure, you go out and you buy money, you buy for the ham, for the meal and the whole thing. Well, we're not going to be buying that this year.
Yeah.
So we're using that money to send some Easter flowers and some color to friends and relatives who would be alone this
good stuff. Yeah, we're going to be Zooming probably tomorrow. I have a sister who lives in Switzerland on the Italian border there, and she's been
Louise.
Yeah, we'll check in with Louise. I hope maybe we'll get her on to chat with you and me.
That'd be fun.
Of course, Italy has been through the ringer and back throughout this whole thing. So, but she is safe and doing well. So we'll connect with her.
She is in Lausanne?
No, she's in I won't mention the name of the town here
sorry.
until I check with her, but she's right on the border there in a beautiful little town on the Swiss side. And
I've never met her face to face. We've met on Facebook. As a matter of fact, my wife, Betsy, has met her face to face.
Yeah, she works in the pharmaceutical industry. As you can well imagine how pressed they are into getting work done these days. So we'll probably, I hope we can check in with her in the coming days. All right, then.
Okay, so are you going to be made to do gardening in the pouring rain? It's actually snowing out there right now.
No. We had snow on the ground up until this morning here. So it's no. Nobody's going out to do much of anything. Not today. But stay in, stay safe.
We've been We've been awfully speedy the last couple of days.
That surfboard. Don't spill your drink. And we have more stuff. You know what I dug up and I want to talk about on the next couple of days is the Joe Sedelmaier commercials we talked about several years ago.
Oh, yes.
And I'll give you the genesis as to how my brain works, how I fell on that. And I found the one from GMAC with the guy giving out the calendars.
Mr. Charles. Yeah, that's a very nice calendar. Charles Krause. Remember the guy's name?
Yeah. Would you like a calendar? Which is a very nice calendar. I was howling, absolutely howling. And PBS did a special on Sedelmaier too, which I'll give you the link for that in the next day or two.
My favorite, of course, is the FedEx guy.
Oh, there were so many.
Depend on anything these days. And he's shaking the clock. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
If people don't know what we're talking about, well, they usually don't.
Yeah.
This guy Sedelmaier used to say, and they were ordinary people, a lot of them, not actors, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm here to apply for a loan. And the guy's about this. And, anyway, I don't want to be telescoping this. We'll show you all the links and we'll cover that in the next day or two. So anyway, have a good day.
Okay. We're faster than the speed of light these days.
To me.